Okay, folks, Andrew Bopros here. I'm going to do a quick video talking about the potential cuts for the offense going into the 2025 season. You might say, well, Andrew, that's really far down the road. I agree, guys. There's not much to talk about. Rookies report on the 12th. Got to do something. Got to do something. And, I think this is an interesting conversation, but we want to talk about the offense first, right? Have a general discussion around what I think could potentially happen. And boy, it's going to be some tough cuts, man. Plenty to talk about, guys. It's going to be a good video. Let's get into it. Okay, folks, so as always, like and subscribe if you do enjoy the content. I'm Andrew Bopros. So let's talk a little bit about the offense, okay? And again, we want to talk about the QBs. We all know Justin Herbert is the man. You're not seeing Justin Herbert on the screen here. Of course, it's Taylor Heinicke. Taylor Heinicke is, I think, most likely going to be our number two. The question is, is he really it's going to boil down to Trey Lance or Taylor Heinicke. Taylor Heinicke, I think, is going to be our number two. I think he's a very good pocket passer. He's just a good overall backup quarterback, right? I think he's a good veteran. He knows what he's doing. So we'll see what happens there. But we did sign, as you guys all know, Trey Lance. Now, I think Trey Lance actually might not make this team. Hear me out here for a second. He does have a pretty big contract. He's going to pay over $1 million guaranteed money. And Trey Lance hasn't, from what I've heard so far, has not shown that he is maybe worth that money at this moment. Right now, whether that's true or not, we shall see. Again, all these players have an opportunity to show who they are in camp. We will be at camp, by the way, and also in preseason games. We all know those are coming up. In fact, we're going to have football this month, Chargers Lions. So it's going to be exciting. So again, we can critique what he's done in the rookie camps and all the above, but I think moving forward, Trey Lance is going to have to show that he's an NFL caliber quarterback for this team. So we'll see how it plays out. But again, some of the conversations are that he has not looked as good as we'd hoped. So, and for that money, right, you might say, well, okay, you have Taylor Heinicke. Again, Herbert hasn't missed hardly any games. As we all know, he works through a lot of injuries. Well, who could potentially take Trey Lance's spot for a third spot? Well, DJ Ungolay. A lot of people are saying that he looked really good. And for the money, you could go a cheaper route, younger route. And DJ Ungolay was one of those guys that really was supposed to be, the big name coming out of college. And I think, the transfer portal hurt him a little bit. He had some injuries, so on and so forth. But look, apparently he's looked really good at camp so far, as we all know. And that's the big conversation so far. So they're going to evaluate him pretty hard. And at the end of the day, if he's cheaper than Trey Lance, why not keep him? You can easily tuck him away on the practice squad. Most likely, I don't think any team is really going to scoop him up, give him another opportunity, and he'd be a lot less expensive than someone like a Trey Lance. So we shall see. Again, I think our first cut could be Trey Lance. What do you guys think? Do you think DJ Ungolay wins this spot? Am I even saying the name right? DJ Ungolay? I have no idea. Anyways, correct me. We'll have a conversation down below. But again, what do you guys think about these three quarterbacks? Who makes the squad? Who doesn't? Leave a comment down below. Now, let's talk about the running back room. Now, running back room is going to be an interesting one because I think there's a few factors that are going to really determine. Now, Haskins, I think, has a good chance of most likely not making the squad. I think largely because a lot of people are saying that Kamani Vidal has looked really good at camp so far. Apparently, he came in a little bit bigger. And the big knock against Kamani Vidal last year was the fact that he wasn't really good at pass protection. Apparently, he's gotten a little bit bigger. And I think a lot of people really think that he could have a breakout year this year. Worked in some camps, did a lot of good things. So I think there's a chance that, the younger rookie could take the spot over Haskins. Now, where Haskins is good is its special teams. That matters because of this young man right here, Raheem Sanders, undrafted free agent, just like DJ Ungolay, another undrafted free agent that could potentially take a spot on this team. And you might say, well, Andrew, Haskins did well when he played. He did okay. But I also think he could easily be scooped up by another team. Raheem Sanders, if you recall, really, Hortiz said he could actually be a draftable player. Well, what does that mean? That means that we could have picked him in the draft, right? The 7th round draft. Now, again, the fact is that he dropped. Now he's an undrafted free agent. It was goody gum drops for the Chargers. And Hortiz is extremely happy about having him on his team. Now, so why do I say Haskins? Why do I say Kamani Vidal? I think a big reason is if he can show that he can play special teams well, he's a big guy, put some people on the ground, show that he can actually sack and do what he needs to do in special teams, then he most likely will take that spot over Hassan Haskins and potentially make the squad. Guys, he might even make the 53-man roster. I know you might say that's even crazy. Do we carry 4 running backs this year? Guys, it might happen. I don't look. Could we? I don't know. There's a good chance. I think at the end of the day, there's a very good chance. Now it's going to really boil down to what he does in preseason games and also at camp. So that those are all things that are going to take into consideration. But right now, again, remember, folks, this guy's getting paid $50,000 guaranteed as an undrafted free agent, which is, you might say, well, that's not a lot of money. Sure. But at the end of the day, undrafted free agents don't have any kind of guaranteed contracts. We've already given him that go ahead that we really want him. So clearly we want him to make this squad. And I do think if anyone has an opportunity to be ousted out, Hassan Haskins is probably it. And I think Kamani Vidal will get most likely 1 more year. So I think if we run 4 running backs potentially this year. What do you guys think? Is that crazy? Not crazy? I don't know. What do you guys think? Now, the other guy is Steve Klotz. Now, Steve Klotz is not a running back. He's a fullback, but he's in the backfield, as we know. So where he becomes an interesting conversation is Scott Matlock. Scott Matlock, as we all know, was the fullback / defensive lineman. Now, he had, I think, he had more offensive snaps, if I remember correctly, than he did defensive snaps. So, and I think with a lot of the defensive linemen that we already currently have, it'll be interesting to see if he gets relegated back to the defensive line, or they just have him run both like he's done in the past. If I had to guess, I would say most likely Steve-O will end up on the practice squad and will most likely use Scott Matlock again as a fullback this season. Now, the good thing about Steve-O Klotz is that he's already looked good in camp so far. Secondarily, I think it does give us an opportunity to have some depth on the practice squad. I don't even will scoop him up off the practice squad. Not many teams use fullbacks anyways. So I do think that you could have him be there, and it frees up a roster spot. So you wouldn't have to carry a fullback unless Steve-O shows that he is that valuable. We shall see. But I truly believe Scott Matlock will most likely be the guy. Klotz will make the practice squad. But what do you guys think? Am I off on that? Or does Steve-O Klotz make the squad? What do you think? Leave a comment down below. Now let's talk about the wide receiver room. Now, guys, I'm in touch right now. We have 11 wide receivers. 11. 6 made the team last year. 6. And I don't even know that we're going to run 6 again this year because, we'll talk a little more about that with the tight end room here in a second. But, guys, we have 11. That means a lot of people are going to make some really tough decisions, guys. Ladd McConkey, Mike Williams, Quentin Johnston, Trey Harrison, Darius Davis, Jalen Reagor, Brendan Rice, Keanu Lambert, Jalen Johnson, Des McJacker, Luke Grimm. That's a lot, right? And it's going to be tough. So the problem with Brendan Rice, as you're seeing in this picture now, is that he was banged up last season. He had some health concerns we didn't really know a whole lot about, but apparently that was part of the problem. Again, could they wave him down to the practice squad? Probably. Most likely. We shall see. But it is interesting to see, again, I've said this 100 times over, the best ability is availability. Unfortunately, he was not available last season, could not play, could not show what he could do. And if you're not doing that with a lot more wide receivers that came on this team this year, it's going to make it really hard for you to make the squad again this year. So, again, it's going to boil down to practice squad. And clearly, we'll see what happens with preseason, camp, all the above. It's going to be pretty interesting. Another guy who'll throw its monkey wrench in the situation is Jalen Reagor. Clearly, this coaching staff likes Jalen Reagor. They signed him to a contract. So, I actually didn't think he was going to be signed to a contract, but clearly they see some things in him that they really like. I don't know if it's a Sanjay Law thing. I don't know if it's a Greg Roman thing, but there are some things that they like about him. And they're giving him another shot to be successful on this team. So we'll see how it plays out. Again, does he make the 50-man roster? Who knows? He could probably put on a practice squad. But I wouldn't assume you put him on the practice squad. You probably would let him go and free up some cap space. But we'll see how it plays out. But either way, Jalen Reagor is still really liked by this squad as well, too. And this coaching staff seems to really like him. So, we'll see how that plays out also. Again, I don't know what happens, but I think, again, unpopular opinion, Jalen Reagor and Brendan Rice might not make the squad. We'll see how it plays out. So why am I talking about the tight ends? Now, I'm not necessarily showing Tyler Conklin here because I think he doesn't make the squad. He's going to make the squad. You know that. I know that. But Tyler Conklin's a really interesting signing because he does a very good job, and it's gonna fit in with the wide receiver conversation as well. And that's why I think we might only cover 5 wide receivers instead of 6. Again, cutting it down again is even more potentially. But the Chargers signed Tyler Conklin. The good thing about Tyler Conklin is he's a very good blocker and a very good pass catcher. He is really what Hayden Hurst was supposed to be last year. Hayden Hurst got injured in the preseason game, was never the same since. Again, we all know Will Dissly can block. The other guy that can block right now is Tucker Fisk. Tucker Fisk is a very good blocking tight end, not great at pass catching. So we have 2 very good blocking tight ends. Hayden Hurst is a very good blocking and pass catching tight end. And then we got this young man right here, Oronde Gadsden, who has done a great job showing this coaching staff that he is a pro-level player. And bottom line, guys, at the end of the day, he's more of a wide receiver than he is a prototypical tight end. Now, the interesting thing about him specifically is he was a wide receiver pretty much the entire time. Now, why I'm saying we might only carry 5 wide receivers, we'll probably carry 6, but we'll see what happens. Oronde Gadsden really is a wide receiver. I do not look at him as a tight end. Yes, he'll be out there as well too, but he's a big body. He runs mostly choice routes. That's what he did in college, right? He was just pretty much just running seam routes, just whatever the defense opened up. He ran, found a hole in the zone, and caught balls. Very good at doing that. That's exactly what we're going to ask him to do. For the Chargers, he's really going to be a slot tight end. So he's not really going to be what Dissly is or Tyler Conklin is, maybe lining up on the edge. He'll most likely be lined up wide. So I do think it's going to be interesting to see how he fits in within the system. And it can also shake up what happens in the wide receiver room, right? Because you got Oronde, if you really like what he's doing, and he's outplaying what you got in the wide receiver room, it's going to make it really difficult for some of these other guys like Jalen Reagor and Brent Rice to make the squad because he's really another wide receiver, and he's got a big body. So, again, he's not a one-trick pony like those wide receivers. So I just think there's a lot to be said about that moving forward. How it plays out, your guess is as good as mine. But I do think Oronde makes the squad, of course, and I think he makes a splash this season. I think he's kind of my sleeper pick. So we'll talk more about the defense later. Guys, if you want us to do the defense, you want me to do the defensive video, also let me know down below. Do you like this format? Also, Rookies Report on the 12th. We'll be having a lot more content to be talking about once that happens. So plenty to talk about, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you do, leave a like. See you guys in the next one.
Hey, what's up? Cameron Dick here watching Bolt Bros podcast. Let's go.
Charged up, Bolt Bros on the night.